Welcome to my review of TMNT Cowabunga for PC. This is a pretty solid game. I currently have the only playthrough of the game online and also a tutorial video which adds commentary to the playthrough and explains my strategies, which really there's not really much to say about strategies. And that's going to be part of the review as well, just that the game is a little bit too easy. Which is fine. If you're just looking for an easy game to kill and something kind of fun to play through, it's not a bad choice. And it's a cool little throwback to the Game Boy Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle games, which is what it was inspired by. This was made by a single person, I believe. And it's pretty solid overall. The enemies don't provide any kind of resistance, really, or any kind of challenge, and the platforming is all very easy. Most of the bosses can be exploited, as you see here. This exploit that I'm using is I just get up to the guy, mash the button, and then just jump kick rocksteady. I don't even go up to fight him. And there's a lot of that in this game. So the bosses are very simple to exploit and defeat. The stages are extremely simple. And there's some really big issues that take the game down further. And that is mapping the game to the controls was a huge pain in the fucking ass. When I tried to map joystick to keyboard, I had to use a separate program to get it to work correctly. There is a joystick option, but the problem is that switching turtles didn't work properly. It would just swap to the turtle, and it wouldn't allow me to play as them. Now here's the bonus stage. The bonus stages are all like this. If you beat these bonus stages, you get full health replenishment for all turtles. And you get a chance to do that after each stage, except for the final stage. They do get progressively harder. You can get some pizza to get your health back for a single turtle. It'll give some of the health back. But yeah, mapping the controls was a huge issue. The game also has game crashing type of glitches where I had to restart the game several times. You can get stuck while climbing ladders. I actually made a video on the glitch. And you have to reset the game. You can't get out of it. I wasn't able to do anything, so I had to reset a few times. Same thing happened to my friend when he tried the game, because he was playing it a little bit before I did. So yeah. Game-breaking glitches, of course. Now, luckily, the game is short, which is another thing against the game. It's a little bit too short at only about 13 minutes to beat once you do well. And there are no lives and continues, which isn't a problem with the game, but I'm just stating that there's no lives and continues. Basically, if one of your turtles dies, you lose the game. So the idea is to swap out turtles to stay alive and live off of their health bars. Now, this is the only boss that required a little bit of strategy where you have to hit him from the back. And that's not saying much. It's very fucking simple, but all the other bosses pretty much entail you going up to them and mashing the strike button most of the time. It's very, very basic. Now, with Krang, he can do a lot of damage, so you may have to swap turtles, but you just continue mashing the button pretty much. And that's most of the boss fights, including the final boss. So again, you can see there's a lot of kind of deficiencies in this game. You know, it has a lot of issues about being easy to exploit, being short. But I did still enjoy it overall. What I didn't enjoy was that the controls were still fucked up even when I finally mapped it with X-Patter. If you hold down the jump button for a millisecond too long, it's set to rapid fire, so you will continuously jump. And that makes platforming very irritating with some of the spikes that you have to dodge later on. So I did take some damage on those parts. Luckily, the game is easy enough to just, not really worry about it too much, but it's still shitty. And it did cost me to have to restart the game a few times because of the shitty jumping control. It did ruin a few of my runs. Krang is, again, very easy even in the second time you fight him. And, you just get up close to him and just keep smashing him. And if you take any damage, you may want to switch turtles out, but that's about it. Now, that also, here's the final boss, which is also the same exact shit, pretty much. Get up to him and smash the button. Very fucking easy. Now, you can't really connect with him with Donatello, which seems very glitchy. It doesn't really make any sense that Donatello is the only turtle that doesn't seem to be able to make contact with the boss. So like I said, there's a lot of weird glitchy things with the game. I mean, nothing super, super serious, but it is a bitch with mapping the controller. That's a serious fucking flaw. But I was able to get around it and just deal with it. But I still consider that a bad thing. It's not something you should have to deal with when you're trying to play the game normally. Now, you do have to, you do want to figure out how to set up the controller properly, unfortunately, because if you don't, you're going to have to you're going to have to swap to the keyboard controls by pressing K, and then switch turtles that way, and then swap back to joystick control by pressing J. Now, the problem with doing all that on a keyboard while you're using the controller is that you're not going to have time to do that while you're in the middle of a boss fight, which is when you would want to swap out turtles. You can, when you have time and there's no enemies around, you can, of course, use the keyboard and swap out the turtles, but that's not really the way the game's supposed to be played. You're supposed to swap turtles out to survive longer. And, you can't really do that. Now, I do like the survival mechanic based off of the original NES game. It's cool. The NES game I thought was a piece of shit. I owned it when I was young. But I do like that they incorporated that in a cool way. But, like I said, that is a big problem when you can't swap turtles correctly unless you figure out how to map the controller properly. It's really not... It doesn't work the way it should. So, for those reasons, I'm going to give it a 6.5 out of 10. I think it's a decent game, but it's short of being what I would consider a good game, just because it's too simple, too easy. Even if you were speedrunning this game, I don't think there would be much depth to it. It's just a very simple game. If you know the routes, you could probably run through, skip most of the enemies very easily. There's not a whole ton of enemies, or they're very easy to predict. And like I said, the bosses all super exploitable. But I did enjoy the game overall. I thought it was a fun game just to beat, as I enjoy inflating my kill list and beating more games. That's mostly what I enjoyed about the game, is just beating it. I thought it was somewhat enjoyable. But yeah, that's my overall review. If you have any questions, let me know, and thanks for watching.